This HAN Network video is brought to you by Coastal Orthopedics.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and you're watching a local election 2015 conversation on the HAN Network. We're joined today by Trumbull First Selectman Tim Herbst, who's running for re-election. Tim, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, now, Tim, you're running for a fourth term. Tell us what a fourth term for Tim Herbst in Trumbull looks like.
I think a fourth term looks at tackling a lot of the big ticket items that have been ongoing over the course of the last 6 years and really bringing a lot of these things to some kind of resolution. I think coming up with a long-term 25, 35, or 55-year strategy to deal with the treatment of our effluent with the city of Bridgeport, our agreement with the WPCA. I'm looking to come up with a long-term solution in the next term. I'm looking forward to breaking ground on a new senior community center, which we have been planning for the last 2 years. I'm looking forward to developing a long-term 15-year capital program for all municipal buildings with an emphasis on our Board of Education buildings. So what I'm looking forward to in the fourth term is really building upon the accomplishments of the last 6 years, but really tackling a lot of big ticket issues that have a long-standing and long-term impact on the town of Trumbull.
Now, in those last 6 years, what are you most proud of?
Well, I'm most proud of how we've improved the overall fiscal condition of the town. When I came into office in 2009, we were not only faced with a budget deficit, but we were faced with very high taxes, record high home foreclosures, and a pension fund that was only funded at 27%. So I'm proud of the fact that over the last 6 years, we've kept the tax rate stable. We've kept the increases very stable and predictable. We have fully funded the annual required contribution for our pensions for the first time in more than a generation. We doubled senior citizen tax relief, and we were able to upgrade Trumbull's credit rating at a time when state and federal credit was downgraded. So I'm very proud of that. And I think when you look at the reforms we've made on the fiscal front, I think that's why you're seeing so much business investment in Trumbull. Over 800 new jobs have been added to Trumbull's economy through 68 new development projects. Our grand list has grown each year that I've been in office despite a depressed economy at the state and federal level. I'm very encouraged by the fact that when I came into office, our commercial grand list as a percent of our total grand list was only 14%. Today it's 21%. So I think because we have created a stable tax environment, improved the finances of the town, that has encouraged business investment. And when businesses come to Trumbull, families come to Trumbull. And I'm proud of the fact that over the last 6 years, our school system has been able to implement new programs, improve student performance, and really be a national model. According to Family Circle magazine and Caldwell Banker, our school system is earning national recognition because of the investments we've made. So I'm really proud of those accomplishments over the last 6 years.
Now, Tim, obviously hindsight is 20/20. Is there anything you would have done differently in your time in office?
I think if I had it to do all over again, I would have probably put a greater emphasis on developing the long-term capital plan for our schools sooner rather than later. We also had a lot that we had to deal with. We inherited, as you remember from covering Trumbull, 2 sewer projects that really consumed a lot of the town's time, involved litigation and a whole host of other problems. We also had to complete the renovation of Trumbull High School, which also had its challenges. So hindsight being 20/20, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have insisted that we move forward with a comprehensive capital program earlier. But I'm really pleased with how our new Director of Facilities for the Board of Education, Mark Deming, is working collaboratively with our Public Works Director, John Marsilio, to fast-track a plan for reform.
Now, Tim, obviously we're here talking about the Trumbull election for First Selectman, but last year you did run for state treasurer, and your name's been brought up since as a possible Republican candidate for governor in the future. Do you plan to run for governor someday?
I plan on running for re-election as First Selectman of the town of Trumbull. I love my job. Having lost a real squeaker last year, I was proud of the fact that we came the closest of any Republican seeking statewide office. And as I tell people, we were able to do that, I think, because we had a good story to tell about what we accomplished in Trumbull. Fixing the pension fund, improving the credit rating. So I don't think we would have done as well as we did last year, but for what we've been able to accomplish in Trumbull. So, as I said when I conceded last year, the day after the election, especially Wednesday morning when we thought we were still ahead, I said, you know what, this all worked out because I still lead the best town in America, and that's where my focus is right now.
All right. And it's obviously been an active election season. You're running against Democrat Vicki Tesoro. Any, of course, criticisms come with that. Is there any criticism of you specifically that you disagree with or you want to mention or bring up?
Absolutely. I find it very funny that Mrs. Tesoro in this campaign is trying to run to the right of me. They've run to the left of me for 3 elections, and they've found that strategy doesn't work, so now they're trying to run to the right of me. So I find it really, quite frankly, laughable when Mrs. Tesoro claims we've increased spending, raised taxes, haven't been fiscally austere. What she doesn't tell people when she mentions a $25 million increase in spending, what she's not telling people is that we had to increase spending $33.5 million specifically to address underfunding of our pensions. The $33.5 million of increased spending fully funded our annual required contribution and met our pension obligations. If we didn't do that, our credit rating would have been downgraded, and she knows that. And what I find alarming is that she talks about fiscal austerity at the same time. From 1998 to 2008, she advocated for spending increases in excess of 90%, $53 million of new spending she advocated for. She called the 12.5% budget increase a status quo budget. She actually criticized my predecessor, Ray Baldwin, for a 3.7% increase to the Board of Ed budget when she was advocating for a 6.7% increase. So, in this campaign, it goes beyond telling voters what they want to hear. You have to tell voters what you've actually done. You can't speak in sound bites or generalities. You have to back up your statements, and you have to defend your record. So I'm really looking forward to the debates. I wanted 5. She's only agreed to 2. I think there's a reason for that, but I'm hopeful that we can debate sooner rather than later to flush a lot of these issues out. And I actually look forward to it as an opportunity to not only talk about our accomplishments and what we've done, but where we want to take the town. And I also want to use it as an opportunity to address some of the fiction in this campaign.
And Tim, how would you describe your leadership style?
I say it like it is, as you know. I'm very direct. What you see is what you get. But I think that my leadership style, you bring up an interesting point when you use the word style. I'm about substance over style. You know what? And I think if people look at the substance of what we've accomplished the last 6 years, I know sometimes my style might rub people the wrong way. I get that. I accept that. I embrace that. As I told people when I accepted the nomination for a 4th term, I've been called a lot of names over the course of the last 6 years, but one name that I do agree with is that I am a fighter. I believe in fighting for my constituents. So when hundreds of families in Trumbull were going to be adversely harmed by GE's closure, because a lot of our residents work for GE, I'm going to stand up and fight for my residents. When our seniors in public housing were put in a compromising position, I stand up and fight for seniors. I stand up and fight for what I believe in. And I stand up and fight for the people I represent. So I think if you look at the substance of what we've accomplished the last 6 years, I don't think anyone can dispute the results. The town of Trumbull is clearly in a much better place now than it was 6 years ago, financially, economically, and with respect to our education system. And that's why we are earning national recognition as a community of choice in Connecticut. So, you know what? I'm going to continue to be honest and straightforward with people, saying it like it is, and doing things for the right reasons. It can't be about what's right for the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. What is right for the town of Trumbull? That principle has always guided me, and I think that's why in this campaign, if you see our campaign finance reports, if you see some of the people that are supporting me, we're getting a lot of support from not only Republicans and independents, but a great deal of Democrats, because I think they recognize, for me, it's about putting Trumbull first and making sure community comes ahead of party.
Now, Tim, we're talking local politics here, and so we plan on asking Vicki the same question. What's one positive thing you could say about your opponent?
Well, one positive thing I can say is the fact that I've given Vicki credit on several occasions for starting the underage drinking forum at Trumbull High School. I actually gave her the Clarence Hyman Leadership Award at one of my State of the Town addresses. I think think that's when you had just started on the Trumbull beat. So I applaud her volunteer efforts to the community. And I've been very consistent and clear in my praise for that program. I think it's provided a very useful deterrent to underage drinking, and it's helped law enforcement. I also think that she's raised 2 wonderful daughters, and she has my respect and admiration in that regard.
All right, great. And finally, what's one thing voters should know about you that they may not?
One thing voters should know about me that they may not.
Maybe they know everything. Maybe you're an
No.
open book.
One thing they should know about me, well, I think they know that I exercise a lot. They probably don't know that I am very sleep deprived. I get about 3 or 4 hours a night.
Oof.
And
rough.
I was sleeping a lot better before I took this job. But I'm a little sleep deprived, but that's okay.
All right. So that's your fun fact. All right.
That's my fun fact, and they probably don't know I'm a huge Dave Matthews fan.
Oh,
Dave Matthews
interesting.
fan.
I didn't know that. All
Huge
right.
fan,
All that
yeah.
time covering Trumbull, and I didn't know.
Yeah, it regularly, when people come over to my house or in my house, either on the patio or in the house, it usually is always playing in my house.
Nice. All
Hu-
right.
huge
See, we
fan.
learned something new today. All right, Tim. Well, thanks so much for joining us on
Thank
the
you.
HAN Network, and best of luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you very much.
That's going to do it for this local election 2015 conversation on the HAN Network. For Kate Chaplinsky and the rest of the crew, thank you.